Hey YouTube, it's Brother Mark here. I hope you're well and good. It's been some time, but I do like to record videos when there's a good reason to record them. So every Sunday here at my house, we have a family Bible study. I think over the last probably 3-4 months, we've been kind of prepping for kind of a real study. I've kind of written something that's just a good primer to get back into just general study. But a couple of weeks ago, we began our sort of proper study, if you can call it that, on Matthew. And so we're going to go through the New Testament, but particularly the Gospels. It's an area that we haven't done yet. I mean, there's obviously a lot of chapters, a lot of books in the Bible. We've spent previously a lot of time in the Pauline epistles, certainly Psalms and Proverbs. Great to obviously read and study as a family. Really challenging, but I wanted to go through the Gospels, particularly Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because it's much more about what actually happened at that time. There's a lot to get out of this. But the one thing that I wanted to do, and I kind of realized this as I was preparing the study for my family, I do want to talk about, because it's easy to do a study, right? It's easy to talk about Matthew and to describe, all the prophecy and some of this stuff. And that's great and fantastic and wonderful, of course. One of the things that I'd like to do, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to do this video, and I can see myself doing other similar videos based on this sort of premises, I want it to be a bit more about, kind of have you, the reader, considered what I'm about to share. Because as I said, you can focus very easily, very quickly on prophecy and, the genealogy, for example. You can go into great detail and it's very interesting, right? But I want to call things out that are not talked about so much, and I think are very, very interesting, and we get you thinking. That's kind of what I've always tried to do in this channel. I've kind of tried to avoid that's kind of standard trend, and trying to set myself out to be a certain type of teacher. I'm just an average man. I like to get what I can from the scriptures, and I like to really dwell on certain things. And so at the moment, and I'm trying to keep this video relatively trim, as I go through the study, so there are four of us, my wife, my two youngest sons, and myself. So I chair the study and, kind of open up the scriptures and talk about things. But each one of them will read a chapter in its entirety. And then what we do is we go into a deeper study. Then the next chapter is read. We study that together. We read the third chapter, study that, and finish. So we did chapters 1-3 of Matthew. This was a couple of weeks back. And then last Sunday, we did 4-6. So I've been meaning for the last week or so to do this video based on what I saw in chapters 1-3. And I wanted to share this video with the people that still subscribe and watch my channel. And I wanted to call a few things out. One thing in particular, because, when you talk about things in the Bible, it's very easy to feel disconnected from what you read. And what I mean by that is, so for example, in chapter 4, we see the tempter, Satan, the devil. And he is not really real to us nowadays. Let's just be honest, right? And, devil possession, and it's very easy for us in our modern minds and our modern cultures to dismiss this as fantasy. It's not real, it's not this, it's not that. I would contend that we need to read the scriptures and believe what we read. And this is the topic of this study today. So in chapters 1-3, what I want to call out, and it's going to be in the title here, is I want to ask you, the watcher of this video, have you ever considered dreams? It's an interesting one, right? Not talking about prophecy, not talking about other stuff. Have you ever considered dreams? Now, I have quite vivid dreams. A lot of people I know, including my sons and my wife, they'll go to sleep, wake up, don't really remember their dreams, and just go about their business. A lot of people wake up, maybe they'll have that initial recollection and then it will just disappear. I have an exceptional memory for my dreams. They're incredibly vivid. Conversely, I also have pretty bad nightmares, and they're very vivid as well. So I don't know if you watching this are like me or like my family. But the thing that I wanted to really focus on in the study that I did a couple of weeks ago was this issue of dreams. And I want to call out that, okay, you've got in Matthew 1 verse 20, the angel of the Lord appearing to Joseph in a dream. It's a very specific event, very specific about what's happening. Now, that's obviously very interesting. And, you could argue, well, the angel of the Lord is not going to come to me in a dream. But that's not the only thing we need to think about here. So if we go to chapter 2 now, and again, I was just teaching on verses 1 to 3, but if you go to chapter 2, verse 12 and 13, talking about the wise men, okay? And it says in verse 12, and being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And, you see in verse 13, the angel of the Lord actually appearing to Joseph. But what I wanted to focus on here is the fact that the wise men were warned of God, not the angel of the Lord, but of God. And again, you see in verse 19, the angel of the Lord appearing to Joseph specifically. But the thing that I called out in our study was a bit more about the fact that, in a dream, these men were warned of God. So what I was trying to say was that dreams do matter, and you watching this video, absolutely, because the scripture says, right, but absolutely can be warned of God in a dream. God can come into that dream. This is what the scripture says. This is why it's important and why I want us to think about this. He can come into your dream and warn you and say, brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so, don't do this, don't go there, watch out for this, do this. So, when I said earlier that, some people, they'll go to sleep, they'll wake up and go, well, that was a strange dream, and then just go about their business, have a coffee, go to work, etc., etc. But what I'm trying to get with this short video is that I want us to start kind of, when we wake up, just think about the dream that you had. A lot of the time, and I think a lot of us really understand what dreams are. Often they're this kind of mishmash of everything you've recently experienced, what's on your mind, how you feel, and it will all get mashed into this kind of weird movie. That's how it works for me, right? But there are dreams that I've had that have been very, very vivid, very real. I've had a real problem distinguishing reality from a dream. And again, it's probably because I'm a vivid dreamer. But I want us as Christians to really think about the dreams that we have. Have you been visited in your dream by God? And have you been warned? Because the scripture tells us it's possible, okay? In verse 12, being warned of God in a dream. So dreams are important, you see. And as Christian, who talks about dreams? Have you ever heard a sermon on dreams? Pretty rare. Might be one or two sermons out there, and of course there are lots of verses to do with dreams. A dozen, 2 dozen minimum that I can think of to hand. But I'm kind of focusing on the study, and as I go through this study, I'm going to try and mine out a few interesting things and potentially share them here as well, as and when I can. But that's my goal of this short video, and I will try to finish it soon. Do consider your dreams, brethren. Do wake up in the morning. Try and pause for a moment or two and go, what was that dream about? Was I being warned? Was there a purpose to that dream? And again, it could just be a mishmash. Most of the time it is. 99.9% of the time it is. But if you have a dream and you're as sure as you can be that you've been warned in that dream, I would strongly recommend you take real heed to what that dream was saying. If you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning and you've had this dream, maybe you're going for a job or something, you're going to an interview that day, and in your dream, you're feeling this very strong desire not to go, a warning not to go. Don't go, something will happen. I would strongly recommend you take heed to that. And I think, dreams, do we talk about it that much? No, I don't think we don't talk about it, but clearly there was a benefit to this, certainly for the wise men, there was a benefit, and then, the one thing that I like as well, and this is probably the second part of what I want to say here is, particularly about Joseph. If you notice in the verses talking about him, the angel of the Lord appearing, what I find incredible about Joseph is just that immediate obedience. It says, arise and take the young child and his mother and go into the land of Israel, verse 20. For they are dead which sought the young child's life. And he arose and took the young child and his mother and came into the land of Israel. Just up, didn't go, well, hang on a second, I've got a job here, I've got this, I've got that, I need to do X, Y, and Z. None of that. Just arose and done. And the same happens everywhere. When he arose, verse 14 in chapter 2, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt. Just up and went. And same at the beginning. It says, and straightway, I think it is, right? Appeared to him in a dream, verse 20. Verse 24, then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took unto him his wife. I really like this. It's just this immediate obedience. So, purpose of the video, guys, is what do you think about this? I'd love to hear, what are your dreams like? Have you experienced this? What do you think about scripture like this? I read this and was really challenged, to just not dismiss my dreams, right? I need to maybe spend a bit of time just pausing for a moment and going, is this something I need to think about, or is this just some mishmash, So I thought I would share that. Please do let me know your thoughts and comments. It's an interesting one. And then maybe we'll talk again about some of the other chapters going forward. So my apologies for a long delay in posting videos, but I want them to be something that's not what everybody else is doing, right? I don't want to churn out videos every day that are hours and hours long and just a meaningless chit chat, right? I'd rather it be something that's just a bit different, trying to get some thought about the scriptures. So do let me know what you think. God bless and Godspeed. Thank you.